Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm Steve Snyder, and this is my colleague, Nate Flood, who is the manager of our ICT team. I work with Nate on all of our projects.
We have done a lot of different conference events over the years, and one of the things that ECHO does is we do research after the event to find out what it is about an event that really works. What do people care about? What brings them back year after year? What are the things that they found are really valuable? And largely what we found from that research year over year is that people attend conferences and symposiums just like this to make connections with other people who are doing the same kinds of work that they're doing all over the world. They also tell us that they are coming to these events in order to learn about new ideas, make new connections with what's going on in the world of agriculture and community development, to hear what's new. And really, the theme that comes through each time is that it's a combination of those things. New ideas are important. Learning what's out there and able to be done is important, but also learning what's been tried, hearing from other people's experience, connecting with people and finding out, are these new ideas going to work for me? Is it something I should try? Is it worth the investment and the risk to do that? So a combination of people's experience and new ideas is really, really important. I think that probably each of us can say, if we're attending events like this, that information and knowledge is very important. How can that knowledge be effective? How can it go from being something that's in our mind to something that's actually, working in the field? And then once we've maybe put that knowledge into action, how can it go on beyond us? And then if it does go on beyond us, how can it make a lasting change? We've discussed these things over and over again this week in many different ways. And information and communication technology is one of the ways in which we really believe at ECHO that this can happen. It's certainly not the only way, but we believe that we can really resource people through these kinds of technologies. This is what Steve and I do every day. And one of the things that we have to look at is what are the challenges to getting that knowledge from where it is to where it needs to be and doing that responsibly. In order to do that, we want to talk a little bit about communications in agriculture development, in development in general, and then through information and communication technology. Communications in general is a deep subject. Some of you probably have degrees in it and you can do some of this presentation yourself. But there are a lot of different models out there about how communication, both interpersonal and mass communication, works. And they're how we determine what we do here at ECHO. We have Laswell's model I've put up on the screen for you here, and it really goes to show how a message gets from its originator to a recipient, and then maybe even, hopefully, put into action. So we start with the who, and that is the communicator. And that communicator says what? Well, they have a message to share, and that message may be any one of the different talks that we've heard of today or as we've been gone through our symposium this week. But that message has to get out to the people or to a person in some way. On the screen here, I've given you kind of a traditional mass media model here. So we've got a radio there, and in what channel? How does that get out? And then who is the receiver, to whom? And then with what effect, the action. And this is what we want to see happening every time. This is the goal. A communicator has a message. They transmit that message. Somebody correctly receives that message. And then they take some sort of action, hopefully a lasting, replicable action. This is a traditional model. And what we're seeing today is we're in a major time of change for how this model plays itself out. This is probably more what we're seeing today. Our communicator might look a little more like this, and they're sending short messages rapidly. and their medium might look a little different. If your part of the world isn't using WhatsApp, or you personally aren't using WhatsApp, this is the WhatsApp logo. There are literally dozens of tools just like this out there. It doesn't have to be WhatsApp. It doesn't have to be Facebook. It doesn't even have to be ECHOcommunity, though. We think that that's a good one. But the medium, the channel, is changing significantly. Receivers are looking different. But what we're hoping is that the actions will be the same. And so what happens here is we need to have all the pieces of this system in order for it to work. If you remove any one of these steps, the entire process breaks down. No communicator, there's no message. If the communicator has no message, then they have nothing to transmit. And if they have no way to send that message, whether it's in person, whether it's through the internet, just like this event would be, any one of those pieces breaking down breaks the system. There are other things that can break that system, and those are things like gatekeeping and interference. Now, I'm not going to get deeply into the idea of gatekeeping, but we talked about Laswell. Kurt Lewin, many years ago, came up with this concept of there being people in any given process that slow down, stop, and let through certain parts of a message. So along the left side here, we have all kinds of different messages that we may want to get from wherever that message comes from to the person in the field who can implement it to change their life. Now, if nobody stands in the way, if there's no gatekeeping, then all the messages can go through. And this might actually seem like a good thing. Breaking down barriers often seems and is a really great thing. But you can imagine if every great idea, if every solution, and every technology is presented to somebody who has to implement that, especially somebody who has a lot of risk aversion. That can be overwhelming. It can be unhelpful. They can do none of it, potentially, because there's too many options, or they may choose options that may be detrimental. And so we do actually need this process to work the way it should work. There are people who are deciding what gets transmitted to their trainers of trainers. And then you have the trainer of trainer who's passing it along to somebody who's going to implement it in the field. And then you've got the person who's actually implementing it. And at each and every stage, what we hope is that some of those messages, some of those ideas get peeled off as we get closer and closer to the place of implementation. The ones that may not be wise to start with, or the ones that are proven not to work in similar situations. So as gatekeepers, you and I, this is our role. It is our job to help to filter what goes on. But the difficulty is maybe one of these arrows here is actually a really good idea that needs to get to the implementer in the field. And we don't want to lose all of those things. We want to make sure that we have an opportunity to know what's working and what's not working. And in communication theory, we're always looking for feedback. In the communication process, feedback refers to a response from the receiver, which gives the communicator an idea of how the message is being received and whether it needs to be modified. And really, feedback is just a big word for being good at listening. As we've gone through each of our sessions this week, I've been hearing about listening to the people that we're working with. And in fact, I've really appreciated Dr. Canoti's devotionals, talking about helping communities to dream. And in order to do that, we need to be listening to their dreams and listening to them as we do it. And this is true of any process that we put into place, whether it's directly communicating ideas to people or if it's using a technology. But you can see we have our ideas and they're making their way here from a person to the end user. But not all of our ideas should originate from the same source. In fact, sometimes they come from people in the field who have great ideas. We need to make sure that we're giving people opportunity to share those ideas. And then as they test those ideas, as they present them to other people, as they see the challenges to those ideas, technologies, and solutions, we need a mechanism that allows us to listen, to hear what's actually working, what's not working, and why, to find out some of the reasons that something might not be even tried in the first place, and to then modify our message and resend, or change the message and resend to make sure that we're getting these critical resources to the people who really need them.
We have this as part of the DNA of ECHO. We have a short video here which demonstrates how we listen and how we retransmit that information that we receive.
This is the ECHO effect. It starts with an idea, an agricultural technique, seed, or appropriate technology. These ideas travel through partner organizations, development projects, and individual development workers and missionaries to small-scale farmers around the world. It doesn't stop with just an idea. Farmers try out these ideas, learning what works best and sharing both what they've learned and the knowledge that they have with ECHO. From this knowledge, ECHO can make better recommendations, and the impact is multiplied. The process begins again, improving the result each time, empowering farmers to make a difference in their families and communities, and enabling them to demonstrate good ideas to other farmers. How do you fit into all of this? Only through your involvement can ECHO continue playing its role, collecting, researching, distributing, and connecting these ideas with those who need them most.
And so we see that there is a source of knowledge that comes from a lot of different places. And the challenge with that is making sure that we're listening to all of the different voices that are out there sharing their knowledge and providing a mechanism and an opportunity for their voice to be heard. I call this the democratization of knowledge. And really what we need to do is break down the idea that there is a hierarchical structure to how knowledge should move. Knowledge shouldn't move over the course of something where we have people who are the most important or to the least important, or the most knowledgeable to the least knowledgeable, and yet that's our natural way of handling things. We see that some people have a source of knowledge and other people as the recipients. But here at ECHO, and hopefully in your work, you've realized that knowledge isn't always coming from one place or from one person, but knowledge can come from anywhere. And that we are all both sources and recipients of knowledge, that every single person in the process has knowledge. Knowledge comes from experience. Now that experience might be coming out of a laboratory, it might be coming out of research, and those are very valuable things. It may be coming from a community organizer who is seeing multiple projects in the field and seeing what is working and what isn't working. And that knowledge very often comes from a farmer's field or a community who have put different things into practice, have historical knowledge, and they can share what they have learned with many other people. And our value system must then be experience-based. We will empower each other when we value each other's knowledge. We empower what we value. We have one really big way that we try to do this here at ECHO, and that's through the ECHOcommunity.org platform.
Okay, the ECHO Community platform from its inception was designed to address some of those things that we discovered from our discussions with members. The technology that's available today allows us to connect our network members with resources that they may not discover on their own, and to be able to connect our network members with the seed program, so that seeds that might be greatly beneficial in new areas can be trialed and checked out by members requesting those. And then finally, we have the ability for our network members to connect with each other. Through our conversation forum, we can have a question asked in one part of the world that then is answered by somebody in a totally separate part of the world.
This information flows through a network that is more than 18,000 network members strong. We represent nearly every country in the world. And we are really excited to see how, when we have this kind of scale, how many questions can be answered and how many ideas can be brought forward and how many options people can get. We can talk a little bit about each one of these areas. The resources available on ECHOcommunity.org and through our mobile app spans things from completely free full-text books that you can download and take with you. We have thousands of videos from us and other network member partners, including all of the videos and all the presentations from the previous events, just like this one for many, many years. And all of the plenary talks and our lightning talks from this event will eventually be available through ECHOcommunity.org. The presentation slides from talks like that are available if you want to go back through and be able to look at the material that's there. And then thousands of documents and publications published by ECHO and network members around the world. This is a platform that allows not just ECHO to publish their work, but for you to publish as well and to maintain control of the work that you've done. We believe strongly in giving credit where credit is due.
The collection of logos you see here is just a small representation of the literally thousands of organizations that ECHO has interacted with. Some of these organizations have formal agreements with ECHO to share resources through ECHOcommunity. Others provide public links that we can share with others. ECHO provides training either directly to or in cooperation with many partners. As we've indicated already, the ECHOcommunity platform is built around the idea of networking and sharing ideas. Let me list a few examples. Scientific Animations Without Borders, SABO, is a university-based provider of over 70 animations dealing with agricultural practices, post-harvest, and health issues. Over 100 languages appear in the translations of these videos. SABO has worked with ECHOcommunity to provide access and download facilities for the entire family of SABO animations. Food Plant Solutions from Australia provides country-specific publications and posters describing indigenous plants. All Food Plant Solution materials are available within the ECHOcommunity platform. Heifer International has provided online distribution rights for a number of animal agriculture publications, particularly for East Africa. Swiss Aid provided videos in Kiswahili with English subtitles. The list goes on and on. Why does this happen? Why are other organizations and network partners interested in working with ECHO on this? ECHOcommunity provides ways to index and organize resources to individual topics, establishing starting points for member inquiries. This approach often brings together different perspectives that help users evaluate solutions for their context. We sometimes find that we are reviving access to content that is supposedly out of date and is no longer published. Often that content has great value for those who are addressing unique issues. ECHOcommunity developed a language-first approach to organization, which allows us to present resources in heart language form when those translations are available, either from ECHO sources or from external sources. 10 languages were used to program the navigation of ECHOcommunity, but over 100 languages are now present within the content. Sometimes a language is used one time on one source. That may seem like a waste, but that resource may provide the specific answer needed by that language group. And finally, we seek to honor the work of network members who have something to offer that is not well documented elsewhere. We carefully consider user communications, such as in ECHO conversations, to determine if we need to add content or share content provided by others. This is part of that feedback loop we've been discussing. The development of ECHOcommunity is an ongoing process that will continue to be molded by the interests and desires of ECHO network members.
As we've been experiencing all throughout the symposium, our connection to each other is probably the most important thing that we can provide. And ECHOcommunity allows this to happen not just during an event like this, but all year long, and in fact 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Part of ECHOcommunity is ECHOcommunity Conversations. We are really happy to see how well this has started to work. ECHO started off sending out newsletters on paper, and that was a very effective way to get information out to the network. At that point, we were always listening. We were always publishing things that were coming in from the network and making sure they went out in the next ECHO development notes. We can do that now, not just on paper and not just in email, but in real time and in a public way that benefits many others. When someone asks a question via email and someone else answers that question, both of them are served, but then no one else gets to be a part of that conversation. By doing this in a public forum, we allow many more voices into the conversation. And we also make sure that that conversation and the options that are presented there are preserved and are searchable by people who will be asking the same question in the future. I can't tell you how many times I've looked for something through Google and found that someone else years ago already asked the question that I was looking for, and there are several different answers out there that I can use and research. And we are hoping and we are seeing that that is working for people in our network as well. When a conversation happens in this way, everybody benefits. They also benefit because there are no one-size-fits-all solutions for many of the challenges that we come up against. In fact, we don't talk as much about solutions at ECHO as we talk about options. And so there are many great solutions to many problems, but they may only be the one solution for one context. And you may need different options to try to figure out which of those is going to get you closest to success. And so we are always talking about making sure that we are providing many options and many solutions so that people have different things to try. We also have our connections to our seeds, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on that during today's presentation, but certainly you should know that ECHO offers seeds to many underutilized crops through our seed banks around the world. If you're in Tanzania, you can get seeds from our Tanzania seed bank, but everyone should have access to our global seed bank, which is available through ECHOcommunity.org. Each year, you can have up to 10 packets free, and one of those packets is roughly equivalent to 1 row of crops. Now, obviously, we're not a bulk seed bank. What we're doing is we're letting you try out and compare different varieties that may work better in your context. We want you to try those things and then tell us how that went, which varieties thrived in your area. And we will do that for you every year. 10 more packets every year, and they are absolutely free thanks to donors to ECHO, including the shipping. We're going to have a Q&A session later. Steve's going to be there. And if you have questions about how to get access to seeds through ECHO, that would be a great opportunity for you to get to know how you can order your free seeds through ECHOcommunity. There's one thing that we've been dealing with over the last year or so, and that is dealing with what's called the last mile problem. Whenever you're delivering something, whether it's information, whether it's telecommunication services, or whether it's packages, the last mile is usually the most complicated process of any delivery system. We have the internet. It has a great backbone that spans the world through undersea cables. But the last mile in our case is not getting to your office or maybe your home, but it's getting out into the field where the real work is done. Many of us have access to the internet. You're using it right now, so you must have access to the internet at some place in our lives. But what we find is that where the people are who really need these resources often is where the internet is not yet available. And so we have a new and creative solution to solve that last mile problem. We've talked about ECHOcommunity and all the things that are available there, but we have built a new ECHOcommunity mobile app. And what this does is it allows you, when you have an internet connection, to store the resources, the videos, the documents, the presentations that you find are valuable in the languages that you want on your mobile device. Take those things to the field with you where there's no internet connection, and then share them with people who have devices just like yours, even if you don't both have a connection to the internet. Steve has put together some demonstrations of how to use this app. Erwin was very excited for you to learn how this app works and how you can put it into practice in the field. So we're going to turn it over now to Steve to do some demonstrations of the new ECHOcommunity app.
The ECHOcommunity app allows you to do several important things, whether or not you have a connection to the internet. You can browse the resources available on ECHOcommunity and store them in your library for offline access. You can view data about plants that are available through the ECHO seed banks. You can keep records of plants that you have received from ECHO, or really from anywhere. The app allows you to track the progress of your crops, and the data is backed up online when you have an internet connection. You can ask for help from ECHO staff, and under Settings you can access a mode that will substantially reduce your data usage if you have a slow or expensive internet connection. Okay, so I'm going to select Resources, and I will see the drill-down menu for the main screen here for accessing various resources. You'll see that the top level here has been designated ECHO Publications and Videos. Then we have publications and videos from around our network, and then some groupings of particular subject matter. And I can drill down further in those and find other types of references as well. At the top, in the top bar there, we can press that bar and then type in some particular place that we want to go. And Sabo has made arrangements with us to distribute their animations on many different practices. We'll look into the agriculture collection here, and we'll see that there are animations available on a lot of different topics. I'm going to go to the animation on climate-smart push-pull systems, and if I press the arrow up in the upper right corner, I can add that to my library, but I have to choose what language I want now. And in this case, I'm going to select Swahili, and I'm going to say I'd like the phone size of this file so that it doesn't overwhelm my mobile device, and it will download pretty quickly with our internet that we have here. Now I can make a choice of whether to just move on, select something else, or go to my library, or view the resource. In this case, I'm going to just view the resource. And in so doing, I have access to that video now directly from my phone. And if I turn my phone over to the landscape mode, now that is viewable in a very much more viewable format, very easy to see. But what about if I wanted to just go to the top and type in Tanzania and search? Well, here we are. We have resources for Tanzania. If I click on that, but I can select this book now, add it to my library. I can select it can be in Swahili or English. I'll select Swahili. And now that's going to download. And again, I can view the resource. I can turn it to landscape mode, make it more readable. I can blow it up just by stretching the screen a little bit. And move on down here. From the main menu, you can access your library that contains all of the resources that you've downloaded on your phone. These are available whether or not you have internet access. And one of the most exciting things about this is that there are several ways that you can share these resources with others, even if neither of you are currently connected to the internet. If you're both using the same kind of phone, this is fairly easy. But even if you're not, there are apps in use around the world that will let you share resources directly from your phone to another. You'll just need to know what is being used in your communities. If you want more practical help with the app or to see the plant record function in use, please join us for our Q&A a little later.
I want to close today with an exciting announcement, and that is that this app is now available to download in 6 different languages, with 5 more languages coming. Thank you so much for your attention, for your time today, and we hope that you'll join us in the Q&A section later.